Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pathfinder adventure card game scenario with the character Damiel. This is scenario 4.4 over at the Scorched Obelisk, where at this location, when you succeed at a check to defeat a Bane by 4 or more, you're dealt 1d4 electricity damage. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what happens. Damiel likes his hand. Advancing the blessings deck, it's a blessing of the elements. The first thing Daniel's going to do is play the canteen. So this is a really great item that allows him to reuse his alchemical items that have the liquid trait. So go ahead and put that out there. Then look at the hand, it's all set. Let's go ahead and explore. We need a crystal stalker. Okay, we don't have to deal with the trigger effect since since we explored and we did not examine. So now what we're going to do, let's see, it says here, it's when we did not examine the card. So if the check to defeat has the acid trait, add 3. Well, we don't necessarily want to add anything to these checks because we're at the Scorched Obelisk and we don't want to take damage. So, I think what we're going to do is Damiel is a mad scientist, and as a mad scientist, he can recharge a card that has the alchemical trait to add 1d4 or 2d4 and the acid or poison trait to a combat check. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. What we're going to do is we're going to recharge a potion of healing so that we can, since it has the alchemical trait, we're going to go ahead and roll 2d4 on this check, and we're going to make it just a straight up melee check. So it's going to mean that we are going to be able to roll an additional d4. So assembling my dice. So we're going to have to roll 3d4 and we need to roll a 9. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I think that's what we're going to try to do. Let's roll for that. So we rolled a 4, and we got 5, 6, and we got 7, 8. So unfortunately we failed by 1. So since we failed by 1, we have to take 1 point of damage. I'll go ahead and take a Blessing of Thoth as damage, and the Crystal Stalker gets shuffled back into the location deck. I think that was the better choice to do rather than take the potential of 1d4 electricity damage for the Scorched Obelisk. So happy how that turned out, but roll a d10, see which card's on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so we're going to be a little pressed for time since we've already wasted a turn. Resetting Damiel's hand, we are now going to advance the Blessings deck. We get the Curse of Withering, so that is unfortunate. We do not like the Curse of Withering, but we have it. We got to deal with it. That actually might work to our benefit since we're at the Scorched Obelisk. This is actually going to be quite fascinating. So what we're going to do now is we will explore, and we get a Shock Glaive. Strength melee 11. Well, it's a weapon 1. This is an auto fail for Damiel. His strength is d4. There's no way he can acquire this boon, so it does get banished. What we're going to do, let's see, what are we going to do? We can use this guy, but no, we don't want to do an extra exploration. We'll just advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Elements. We're going to continue exploring, and he's back. The Crystal Stalker is back. Well, this time we are going to recharge a card. We're going to recharge a card that has the alchemical trait to add 2d6 to our combat check. This time we're going to recharge the Scarab Buckler. And what we're going to do is, since it's a straight up melee check, we're doing these 2 dice and the melee check there. And we're also going to use our embalming fluid on this check. This Bane has no immunities, so we get to add +2 to this check. Rolling 3d4. So this time we rolled a 2. We rolled a 3. Yep, that's a 3. And a 4. And we get to add +2 to this roll. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we failed by 1. What we could do is we could use a Blessing of Khepri, turn that 1 into a 6. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. But that means that we're going to beat it by 4. And that means that we're going to have to take the electricity damage. So as it is, what we're going to do is we will take 1 point of damage. We're going to use the Ubashti, recharge him so that we don't take any damage. And this crystal stalker is going to get shuffled back into the location deck. Wow. 1, 2, 3, shuffling cards here. So let's go ahead and roll a d10, see which card is on top of the location deck. 3. So 1, 2, 3. Alright, very interesting. I love this this location, the squished obelisk. It's like balancing a tightrope here. I love it. Alright, let's go ahead and reset Damiel's hand. And now what we're going to do is we will advance the blessing deck. We actually played that all wrong because due to the curse of withering, I technically would not have gotten an extra die. Because it would have, well, maybe I played that right because it says here, while displayed during your check, when you assemble your dice, replace all of your highest size dice with the same number of the next lower size dice. So since there are no lower size die in D4, I actually played that right. Alright, advancing the blessings deck, it's a blessing of the elements, exploring. We get a little doggy. Wisdom survival 6. Well, Damiel has a wisdom of D6. Let's see if he gets this little doggy. And he does not. The little doggy runs away. Alright. Damiel's hand is fine. Advancing the blessings deck. It's a blessing of Pharasma. Exploring, we get the we get an animal cold elite. It's combat 9. It's immune to cold and fire. Before you act, each character at your location must succeed at a wisdom 6 check or recharge 1d4 cards. Well, Damiel has a wisdom of 6. So we rolled a 3, so we failed that check. We have to recharge d4 cards, so we rolled a 1. So just have to recharge 1 card. We'll choose to recharge the Viper, our ally. Alright, so now, let's see, combat 9. So once again, we really don't want to be rolling high here. We're going to go, this is really fascinating. We're going to go ahead and we're going to recharge. We'll recharge the soul stimulant. Actually, you know what? We don't want to recharge the soul. We're going to. We're going to keep that Curse of Withering. I think that's actually going to be beneficial. We're going to recharge the soul stimulant, and since it has the alchemical trait, we can add 2d4 to our combat check. We're going to do a melee combat check, which is a d4. Since we have the Curse of Withering, it's still going to be d4. And we're still going to use the embalming fluid because, actually, you know what? It's immune to the cold trait. Shucks. Well, we'll do it. We're just going to roll these dice. We're going to see what happens. Alright, so we rolled a 2. There's a 2. There is a 3. And this one is a 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. Right on the dot, he is defeated and we don't trigger the Scorched Obelisk. Well, that worked out perfect. Alright, very happy how that worked out. Resetting Damiel's hand. We're going to advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Ancients. We're going to explore. Alright, we get the villain of this scenario. The Sky Pharaoh Guardian. We were making so much noise defeating that crystal stalker that he decided to show up. Alright, it's a construct. Combat 21. The Sky Pharaoh is immune to the mental and poison traits. So when you encounter the Sky Pharaoh, roll 1d6. Alright, let's do it. So roll a 1. During this encounter, characters may not play cards of the corresponding type. Alright, so we can't play any weapons. Well, that really sucks. So what we are going to do is, fortunately, we have the acid flask. So a liquid attack acid basic. Okay, so it's not immune to the acid. So we'll go ahead and use the acid flask. Normally it's a d10, but since we have the Curse of Withering, it's only going to be a d8. And we get to roll 2d6, which one just fell on the floor, so let's get another d6. We are going to use a Blessing of Thoth on this roll, so we can roll an additional d8. Then we are going to use Damiel's power, which says he can recharge a card that has the alchemical trait. So, since we can't use this Fire Lance, we will recharge that to roll an additional 2d4. And we're really not concerned about triggering the Scorched Obelisk since it's fairly easy, or I should say fairly early, and if we have to lose cards, we'll be able to handle that. So rolling that, so we rolled 10, and a 1, and a 3, and a 5, and a, what is that? That's a 4. So we rolled 10 there, 20, we got 23, plus our disable, that's 4. So total of 27. So we defeated this Skypharaoh Guardian. We will have to, it says here, well, first of all, we got to roll then for Scorched Obelisk. So we take 4 points of damage. Ouch. So our entire hand has been destroyed. We have to roll for the Embalming Fluid to see if we lose a card or have to bury a card. And our craft skill is +5, so we do not have to. We needed a craft 7 check, and we made that. So we don't have to bury a card for the Embalming Fluid. And yeah, we probably missed a check for the Embalming Fluid, so I just did it again there. So we're all set where we're supposed to be with cards. So let's go ahead and reset Damiel's hand to see if he survives, and he is able to draw 6 cards and survive. All right. Well, we also could have put the acid flask on top of the canteen and reuse that later. But as it is, a very entertaining scenario. The scenario is closed. The Skypharaoh Guardian has been defeated. All right. Let's go ahead and look at the reward for the scenario. The reward for the scenario was a skill feat. So let's take a look at Damiel's skills. What we've been doing with Damiel, zoom in here, is we have been just focusing on his intelligence, and we've been focusing, see if this camera will focus or not. Nope, it's probably just the lighting. Tap, tap, nope. One more time, and we'll just keep it right there. Maybe not. Let me get it out. There we go. That's a little clearer. Camera work. There we go. So what we're going to do is we will, since we have a skill feat, we've decided to go the dexterity route, and that is a route we will continue to do. We're going to give him a +2 now to his dexterity checks. So I would do a dex check, and I would take Damiel to a trader, but he did not gain any loot or any boons of level 3 or 4, so there's no purpose of him going to a trader since he's happy with all of his cards for the most part. So as it is, if you want to see the state of Damiel's deck, you can check out the previous video since it hasn't changed. Thanks for watching, and I will have another scenario up shortly. Alright, thank you.